but mighty, and I know that you'll do a good job of answering these questions. So thank you in advance. I appreciate it. So let's look at chapter 5, beginning at equip number 9. And the question 9 is, what are the two opposing views about the origin of the universe, and what is the real truth behind the debate between the two positions that experts and media get wrong? So let's start with that first one. What are the two opposing views? Roy? So yeah, intelligent design versus what? Right. So, well, yeah, I would say intelligent design versus atheism or Darwinianism or naturalism, but that's not wrong. That's just another way of stating it. So ID versus atheism. Now, is that how it's billed by atheists? Intelligent design. No, what do they say? Yeah. It's billed as a battle between science and the Bible, or science and faith, or science and religion. And in truth, it's about good science and or reasonable faith and unreasonable faith, because everyone has faith. Right? Atheists have faith in atheism. So it isn't a science against the Bible. Pretty sure God created science, so it's not, that's not the dichotomy. Any questions on that? Any comments on that? Okay. Next question. Name the two types of causes. So what are the two types of causes?
Intelligent.
Yes, or non-intelligent. Either one, yeah. So intelligent or and non-intelligent or natural. So what's an example of an intelligent cause? Mount Rushmore is. What's another one, Melissa?
Oh, non-intelligent?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Crazy Horse.
Crazy Horse, also a very good. Yeah.
Not yet. I think it's going to be done by 2026. Crazy Horse. It's South Dakota. It's awesome.
Cave drawings. The Eiffel Tower. A car. What? Baguettes. Now I'm hungry.
All right.
I'm hungry now. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then what are some examples of non-intelligent causes, or an example of a non-intelligent cause? Yes. The Grand Canyon, which is fabulous, right? I stood at the edge of the Grand Canyon and I just wanted to sing, belt out, How Great Thou Art. I mean, it was just crazy. It's so beautiful. What else? Yes. A volcano. Yeah. Niagara Falls. Appalachian Mountains. Chimney Rock. The cave in which the cave drawings exist, right? Is a non-intelligent cause. I love this quote from your book. It says, their conclusions, meaning the conclusions of atheists, are preloaded into their assumptions. So their conclusions, what they believe, is determined before they look into it. They make assumptions based on their conclusions. And then here's another thing from that part of the book. They allow no other options than spontaneous generation. It is literally a foregone conclusion. They don't allow there's no other possible answer. They won't even consider another option than spontaneous generation. accidental this is kind of a funny question. What is panspermia and why is it a far out theory? First, what is it? Yes.
It's a theory that aliens seeded Earth with life from space.
That's never been. Yeah, Morgan.
Can I say why it's far out?
Of course.
It's far out because it just kind of up.
There's no evidence of it, right? That happened. And I mean, first we have to have evidence of aliens, right? Yes.
I knew what panspermia was before I knew the word. Because whenever I was when I was in Guatemala, there was this really weird man, and we thought he was on something, but he tried to share the gospel with them, and he let us come into his apartment, covered in newspaper clippings of like aliens, and he believed that he didn't necessarily say panspermia, but he said, I believe
Where do you go from there, right? Okay, well, let me tell you about Jesus.
Yeah.
No.
There is, so I want to say two things about this. There is a song from the 70s. I'm looking at Grace because she knows these things about it. It's actually by the guy who not created. He was the first person to sing Christian rock and roll. And at the time, nobody liked him because the church said he was too worldly, singing rock and roll. And the world said he was too Christian because he was singing rock and roll about Jesus. And he has a song called Unidentified Flying Object.
Oh, yeah. I know too.
And the unidentified flying object, his name's Larry Norman. Larry Norman, is Jesus. Never mind. Anyway, but you know what? I love this part of the song. He says, and if there's life on other planets, then I'm sure that he must know, and he's been there once already. You know that song?
Yeah.
I think you then must,
I think you've
must
told
be.
us.
You've told
You've
me
told us
I
about
heard
it.
about it.
I told it to you before?
Yeah, you told us about it last year.
Oh, okay.
I think you talk about everything.
And the
Probably.
It kind of reminds me of like the show where like it was kind of weird because I had no idea. I only watched like the last 2 episodes because my dad was watching it, and they kind of the series ended with them on Earth. And like, okay, this is our new. Okay, we're compatible with the people.
Are we talking about aliens?
Yeah, because these people they were like humans. We just called them hackers. And they were just like, okay, and then they just landed on Earth with a spaceship. It's like Star Trek.
What's it called?
I have no idea. It was
Oh.
a while ago. And they were just like, okay, so
Sounds
this is
like
our
an idea.
we're compatible. Let's go.
And really, I also had a conversation, a very, very lengthy conversation on the Chicago missions trip at a food pantry with a gentleman who was an ex-con for selling drugs and possibly a little bit mentally unstable. And he kept telling me, you just go to YouTube, you can learn this. You can just go. I've heard a lot of false things. And he was telling me all of the famous people who are actual aliens. So that was interesting.
Well, maybe he's right.
Oh,
Bro, maybe
They're all lizards, actually.
Yes.
So I actually had one of the guys that was my dad's group name was and last year, remember the day that they had like the Oscars party or whatever? Remember that?
Yeah.
So I left early from that because he just showed up at our house. He actually has like he got schizophrenia, so he just like showed up at our house, no place to stay, and so he ended up living with us for like a couple weeks. Great. Sometimes he'd be like completely normal. He was honestly a very fun, cool dude. But then it was really sad because sometimes you see him like he's usually not there at all. Not good. Yeah. He would see all that kind of stuff too, like, not even necessarily things from him, I'm pretty sure he definitely said that. But all of it is, conspiracy theories and people out to get him and stuff, because schizophrenia is like paranoia.
Right. That's
It's
what
very
it
sad to
does.
see.
It is. It is. So then number 12, in summary fashion, what is the overall problem with Klaus Stoss, Francis Crick, Fred Hoyle, Chandra, you can figure it out, and Michael Denton have with explaining and proving the evolutionary theory of spontaneous generation? Basically, what's the problem with what they believe in?
Their belief is also faith-based, and they're not having, they just go off of their own sense, and then they accuse other people of not going by sense, even though their discoveries are based. They're taking a leap of faith.
They are taking a leap of faith as well. Anything else? How complex is the simplest life form?
Astonishing.
Yeah, mind-boggling, right? Mind-boggling. Yeah, and the simplest life form is so complex, and the more that a cell, a single cell, is studied, the more we realize how complex it is, or the more maybe we don't even realize it. Like it is really mind-boggling. And I referenced this yesterday. Their attempts to create life from non-life, have any of them worked? Have any scientists brought life from non-life? No, they've all failed in attempting to create life, and it is only leading them to understand how impossible it is to create life out of non-life. And I mentioned this yesterday. Even if they were able to create life out of non-life, I don't think they ever will, because they're not God. But if they ever did, it would only prove that it takes intelligence to create life, because a whole lot of intelligence would have to go into that. It wouldn't prove spontaneous generation. There's nothing spontaneous about what they're doing. But then the other thing is, and you'll be asked this again, the supreme problem for these people, these atheist scientists, isn't evolution. It's the first life. How did the first life happen? What happened after that? It isn't the biggest question. The biggest question is, how did we get life in the first place? And everywhere where we see accidents, they always disorder. They never order. And life is very ordered. And life is very ordered because God is a God. The reason why, and then this was an atheistic scientist, I can't remember who said it, that the universe runs by laws, it always runs by laws, it never doesn't run by laws, is because God is a God. And He created it that way. Okay, so 13 is our last one. A Darwinist blind allegiance is to what kind of philosophical idea? We'll hit the why later. What is their what are they philosophically? What is their philosophical allegiance? The ideology of reduction. Okay.
Again, I don't have the books.
So I'm actually gonna make that easier. They have a prior, it's called an a priori, but it just means prior means deciding beforehand. So their allegiance is based on a decision up front, like before looking at the evidence, a commitment to naturalism. Like they start with, okay, there is no God, so let's find out how we got one. And if you're going to rule out, look, when a Christian scientist looks at the evidence, they're not saying, well, it can't be natural. Now they believe in God, but they're not ruling out something natural. In this case, they're saying it can only be natural. It can't be a God. And if that ends up being the right answer, they'll never get to it. It's example I use with you all the time. If you say, okay, if you're asked, okay, what's 2 + 2, and then the teacher says, but the answer can't be 4. That has to be one digit. You're never going to get the correct answer because they ruled out in advance the correct answer. And so their allegiance is to this prior commitment, a priori commitment to naturalism, because there can't be a God. And truly, it's blind faith. It's blind faith in naturalism. It's blind faith in spontaneous generation. And it's also an act of the will. They are willfully not refusing. They're willfully refusing to allow for the possibility of God. It can't be God. Which is why they talk about this good science, bad science. If you're gonna be a scientist, you've got to put everything on the table and say, okay, we'll see where the science leads. If they can do that, if they rule out a possible answer. Okay, so for Monday, and I'm going to give you the rest of the hour now to do this. You're going to finish reading the chapter. What's the last page of the chapter? And then you're going to finish all the quick questions. Actually, you're going to finish all of the questions. So you're going to finish the quick questions and the engage questions. What did you tell me? Page 135. Okay. So you're on page 124, right?
112.